I'm going to read these 7 books in 7 days, a total of 2,500 pages. Hi, my name is Mel, and as you may or may not know, I'm an author. I've been writing since I was around 7 years old, but when I turned 13 and started to take writing more seriously, I sort of abandoned reading in order to make more time to write, which is kind of a shame because it was reading that inspired me to write in the first place. Winter break was coming up and I didn't really have anything to work on, so I thought, what if I just spend a week of break catching up on as much reading as I possibly can? So I did, and this is how it went. The first day went great. I started reading Thunderhead around 2 p.m. because I slept in too late. I have to admit, it got a little tiring reading about death for so long, so at 6:30, after 177 pages, I switched to Turtles All the Way Down. Turtles All the Way Down is a completely different genre and even written in the first person, so that was refreshing after being stuck in a dystopia for most of my waking hours. After a while, I switched back to Thunderhead, finished half of it by 10:30 p.m., and finished half of Turtles All the Way Down at 12:30 a.m. I slept through alarms and woke up at 10:30 a.m., started reading at 11, which wasn't too bad, read until noon, ate some food, and finally reached the 3/4 point around 1:30 p.m. I decided to finish Turtles All the Way Down all at once. Finished it around 4 p.m. After dinner, I moved on to Thunderhead. It wasn't late, but I felt sleepy for some reason and had a hard time focusing on the words. I finally finished at 9:30 p.m., which was much better than Sunday. Like planned, I finished 2 books in 2 days. 2 days into this challenge, and I was already exhausted. I procrastinated on reading because I didn't feel like it. This meant I didn't start until 3 p.m., which was not good. I had planned to read half of 100 Days of Sunlight as well, but I was way too exhausted for that. I didn't start reading until 9:30 p.m. because I met up with some old friends and had a family dinner. I quit reading The Leaving at 12:40 a.m. because I was falling asleep. I still didn't start on 100 Days of Sunlight, so I was falling behind really bad. At this point, I honestly felt like giving up on this challenge. I got the rest of The Leaving finished by 6, but it felt like catching up would be impossible. 4 more books to read with only 2 days left. I dove into 100 Days of Sunlight around 7:30 p.m. and could not stop reading. I read it all in one sitting and finished by 11 p.m., which was very unexpected. I was still behind schedule, but reading 100 Days of Sunlight in one sitting pretty much saved me. I had 3 books left to read in 2 days, which didn't seem nearly as bad. I started reading Satellite at 2 p.m., finished a third of it by 4, and moved on to American Panda. I started Trollhunters around 12 a.m. and read until 2 a.m., but I was literally falling asleep behind the pages and couldn't will myself to keep going, especially since I had to wake up early tomorrow. I was a little bit panicked. I'd have to read over 700 pages the next day if I wanted to complete this challenge. The last day of this challenge was a mess. My family went on a trip to Sausalito. I read Satellite all the way there, took a break, and finished the book by the time we reached home. Next, I read Trollhunters. I reached the 2/3 point at 7:45 p.m. and was feeling a bit bored, so I switched to American Panda. Finished it off by 10:30 and completed the final third of Trollhunters at 1:10 a.m. Surprisingly, I did it. 7 books in 7 days. One thing I noticed about reading that week was I spent a lot less time on my phone. Normally when I get bored, I will go straight to my phone, and that's sort of how I relax or re-energize. But In this case, I had these strict reading goals, so I would just go straight to my books instead. And honestly, I didn't really miss using social media and watching so much Netflix and YouTube as much as I thought I would. Another thing I noticed was I had an easier time falling asleep at night. There's something about scrolling through my phone that just keeps me from feeling sleepy, but when I was reading, I would know when I was tired. I would lose my spot, have a hard time comprehending things, and sometimes even shut my eyes completely, which doesn't really happen when I'm on my phone. Books aren't as stimulating as technology, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. So hear me out. You don't have to read 7 books in a week, but if you have that one book that's just sitting on your shelf that you've been wanting to read for a long time but just haven't, then I challenge you to pick it up and give it a shot. You might be surprised. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and comment down below. It really helps a ton. I also wanted to mention that my debut novel, Leaving Wishville, is coming out next month, February 8th of 2020, and the first 3 chapters are available for you to read for free on leavingwishville.com. I'll have the link in the description so you can check that out if you're interested. Speaking of which, I actually just received the package of Leaving Wishville's proof just now, so we're gonna open it together. This is my book. Yeah. Oh my god, this is crazy. Anyways, publication is coming up. Thank you so much for your support, and I will see you next time.